Hello viewers, today we are going to introduce one of the most important and universal ingredients of an orderly living called resource management. To contribute to an effective and dynamic resource management, the necessary concepts are values, goals, resources, as well as standards. Then we will explain the importance of family resource management by emphasizing the factors of procreation, protection, economization, religion, and recreation. Lastly, we will understand how these principles and factors are so essential for family resource management. So now, let us listen to Dr. Mahalakshmi V. Reddy, who will thoroughly look into the components of family resource management.
Dear viewers, we are going to understand the principles of resource management. Every family or an individual uses the word management. We use management for talking about time management, energy management, event management, resource management, business management. There are so many ways in which we use the word management in the house. What are we trying to manage here? We are trying to look into what is available with us and what we want to achieve out of it. So, this is what we try to do for management. When we work on this process of managing activities or an event, we try to do it successfully if really confident. However, if not very confident of what are the resources and how the things are, surely one happen to have some flaws in achieving the goals. So, when we are handling any management issues, we should be really confident about what exactly we want to achieve, how we are going to achieve, what are the resources that are available, what kind of facilities, what kind of hindrances, what kind of expectations. Everything has to be kept in mind while you are thinking about management. So, management is not only about organizing things, we should also look into who are involved in the action. It is like the people who are performing different roles do contribute to the management. It could be the human resource or it could be the material resource. So, when it is a human resource, the people, their values, their desires, their dreams, their standards, everything has an influence on their output. So, naturally, when we are looking into the human resource, we cannot ignore these issues when we are trying to evolve the solution to the problem. Similarly, resources, these are ample, these are abundantly available if you give importance to the available alternatives and then how accessible it is to the process. So, if you can understand these things, I am sure it is possible for us to manage the activity, organization, whether it is an individual or the families, anyone's goal can be properly met if you can have the clear understanding of the management. To understand management, one should have the clear knowledge about the concepts. First of all, you should have a clear understanding of what is management itself and then what contributes to the management. Management is the use of what you have to get what you want. What you have is something in your hand. What you want is what you wish to achieve. So, management helps us to understand the basic understanding on what you have to get what you want. In other words, management is the purposeful behavior. It is the behavior that are taken up for creation of the resources, use of resources in order to achieve the goals. The more broader definition is it is a planned, dynamic and continuous activity directed towards the realization of the values and goals of the institution or an individual. Here it says it is a planned, dynamic and continuous activity, so that the realization of the values and goals are kept in the mind while dealing with the individual or an organization. In fact, a more detailed definition of a management says that it is a orderly activity which looks into planning, controlling, evaluating and use of the resources of the family, that is both human resources, that includes knowledge, abilities, energy, skills, interest, etc., and the non-human resources like money, community facilities, time for attaining goals. All these are the things that contribute to the management. So, management is a process, management is a art, management is a science. A combination of art and science together, we will be able to achieve the better organized action. Now, the other concepts that do contribute to the effective management are the values, goals and standards. What are values? Values are motivating factors. Every human being has certain inbuilt feelings which he tries to put it while handling a situation. It may be his inner feeling like, for example, honesty, faithfulness, curiosity, interest. All these are something which will make a person to be very conscious of what he is doing. If a person is more enthusiastic about efficiency, he puts it in a different way. He wants to organize things, he wants to keep his place clean and neat, everything in its proper place, so that his work is performed in a more efficient manner. So, like this, the internal feeling of a person is properly judged, discriminated and analyzed when he is trying to perform the activity. Thus, this becomes a fundamental force for action or an endeavor. Value actually signifies the worth attached to an object, principle and idea. If you are very optimistic, you will be very sure that this is what you want, this is how it has to be, this has to be taken care like me in this manner only. So, this is how he fixes upon what he wants to do by having the values strong in his mind. So, it is something more attached to oneself. The next concept of management is the goal. What is goal? Goal is something we want to strike. Any activity, when it is performed, it is fixed to a target. That target is nothing but a goal. So, what we try to do when we know that we want to achieve, we fix it as an important criteria. How you want to achieve, you plan out and then see that your goal is surely achievable, and for which you try to plan, process. So, that is how goal achievement becomes a very, very important issue. In case of family, what happens is the lifestyle, the career, the legacy, the management of finance, all these are important issues. In their life management, they try to identify which are the things that has to be properly managed. So, it could be the finance management, credit management, tax management, career choices, many other things that do help in achieving the goal of successful manager. The successful management of the family is surely influenced by what kind of goal a family sets. The goal could be for a family to make a house, it could be to make a successful career, but in case of an individual, it could be just making a success in studies, it could be achieving good training in some hobby. So, for which the kind of effort a person puts is totally different from the family goals. So, this is how goal can be well understood. Now, going into the next concept of standards. Standards are the measure which is based on the values. If the values are dominating, then the standards are very rigid. Say for example, efficiency. As I said, if a person has a efficiency, he has to put in effort to see that his satisfaction is totally achieved, for which he puts a line. This is my efficient level. So, to see that, that becomes a standard. So, in order to see that standards are met, he raises his efficiency to manage things so that he meets that standard. So, standard is a measurement to understand what is the expectation level. So, every family takes up this standard as an important criteria to discriminate themselves from the other families. So, this is my standard of living, this is my standard of life, this is what I want to be. All these are influenced by what exactly he looks for in the standards, how efficiently he can stick on to what he wants in his mind. So, standards are a fact that are surely influenced by the values. So, values are the guiding factors which helps in fixing the standards, so that these standards also becomes a criteria for achieving the goals. So, standards cannot be ignored when we are trying to perform the action, when we are trying to achieve the goal and we are trying to managing a situation. Now, apart from all these things, there is something called resource. I had been talking about resource so frequently. Resource, it could be the human resource or a non-human resource. What is resource? Resource is nothing but a aid or a support. If it is available in abundance, we use it liberally. Like for example, we look for food. When we are hungry, we look for a food, that becomes a resource. Then only you can fulfill your hunger bite. The same way, when you are thriving for knowledge, your books become a resource, internet becomes a resource. Like this, resource is something which helps in achieving what exactly we want to achieve. So, we cannot ignore the resources that are available. These days, with the advanced technology, advanced sciences, we are simply flooded with so many varieties of resources in our hand. So, if you understand how much of resources are available around you, how much of resources you can generate, how much of resources you can borrow, all these things do contribute to the effective management. So, having a clear concept of what is value, goal, standards and resource are very, very essential if you want to understand, if you want to become a good manager in managing an event. We use this management process in all walks of life, whether it is family management or individual management, business management, event management, everywhere we try to use the management. So, it is an essential component of every organization where more than one person are involved to achieve the goal. In fact, every member contributing to the management of an activity has an important role to play, like they should understand what are the resources they have on hand, what kind of role they can expect from the other members. So, if they know these are the things available and this is how they can manage, surely any management can be achieved. So, whether it is business, let's say for example, if you are working on the management of an event, management of the event has number of activities to perform. So, it cannot be done by a single individual. So, a manager who performs the role of managing the activity, he decides what are the things to be achieved and who is going to be responsible for achieving these, and then what kind of roles that can be assigned to each and what kind of resources they are provided with, and then what kind of hindrances that can contribute to that can come in the way of management. If they know all these things, the event management can be properly planned. So, the role of manager becomes more and more crucial in the management. So, the manager can be in the business organization, it is the president followed by the vice president, then the executive president, executive members, then the other members. Like each one defines what is their role. So, that is how the management of a business organization performs well if everyone is defined with the roles, so that the things are well arranged or achieved. In the same way, it happens with a family. Father, mother, children, whoever is the person helping the family, all of them have to understand what are their roles. If the roles are defined and the resources are very clearly understood by the family members to support the family, surely family management becomes very, very easy. So, family management or a business management, educational institution management, anything becomes easily management if one understands who is performing, what is the role, what are the resources, whether the roles are defined. If all these things are clear, it becomes more easy. So, I should say that management, whether it is a formal organization, like for example, national organization, international organizations, non-governmental organization, irrespective of all these things, the management becomes one and the same. The same way it happens for the semi-formal organizations. In case of semi-formal organization, manager takes a big responsibility and the number of people who work under him may be little or small. So, according to their level of knowledge, he assigns a job and sees that still he gets the goals achieved. In case of the informal environment like a family, a club, whether it is a religious environment, here the goal definement is clear. However, people who are involved in it may be few. So, it is little more flexible. So, all the organizations, all the institutions, all the families, everywhere management plays a very, very important role. So, management is a term which is universal to all. Family resource management is a very dynamic management. Families are a very important social unit and they have many roles to play. The understanding about family life management is more crucial. This is not so easy because these days the management is influenced by the changing environment. Every family performs the roles of procreative, protective, economic, religious, recreational. They try to play all these roles in the process of management. So, what happens? Who is contributing to it? It is all the family members. Age makes so much of difference, gender makes so much of difference, education makes so much of difference, the occupation influences. Like this, the people who are surrounding the family, the neighborhood, everything has an influence on the family. So, family management is more and more getting complicated because of the changing environment. These days, the changing world has such a tremendous role to play. We see that westernization, technology, materials, opportunities, all these are undergoing vast change. Family with the advanced technology, they have opportunity to explore, they have opportunity to innovate, they have opportunity to look for alternatives. So, this is how technology makes a very big impact on the family. A simple family do get less influenced by the westernization. Their thoughts are simple and they become really manageable with whatever the resources they have. But under the influence of westernization, people want to be more stylish, people want to be more blending towards the changing trends. So with all these things, they look for something different. So naturally, the resources that are available in the family surely not able to meet these requirements. They need to depend upon the additional resources to manage, and these are at times becomes little more complicated, and sometimes family may not be able to achieve these. So there is lot of constraints that come in the way of management. In the process of managing the family, the decisions taken by the members, the important role players, that is husband, father, mother, whoever it is, the kind of decision taken and the policies that are fixed as a criteria for achieving the goal, sometimes it may be really convincing the family, or sometimes it may be a kind of disturbance. Sometimes it can lead to the question of disputes, and sometimes little beyond that also. These days people are into problems mainly because lack of understanding of expectations. So if the kind of decisions that are taken, if it is not properly clarified, if it is not shared, surely family can end up in a turmoil. So in order to understand this, a family should be having a good coordination of the family members, realistic understanding of their values, their goals, their rigid or a flexible standard. All these things do have to be given importance when we are trying to understand the family life management. So to conclude, management is a very essential activity. It has become an important activity for creative living. If one has to be looking at the goal accomplishment, surely the proper management becomes an inevitable need. So if management has to be effective, understanding the concepts are very important, clarifying the issues and decisions are very important, understanding the resources and other factors that contribute to the family life are important, and then the external factors like the environmental factors, technological factors, political factors influence the family. So if one can understand how each of these factors can influence the management, it is possible for a family to take better decisions, so that the right kind of decision making surely will help the family to achieve what they want. The fundamental purpose of management is to bring changes in an orderly way by having a clear understanding on the values, goals, resources and standards. The purpose of management is to achieve the goals. So if we can have a clear understanding of the process and the concepts, it is surely possible to achieve the goals.
So with this, I would like to thank you for being here with us and listening to the ways we can improve our living through family resource management. So thank you very much.